Have you ever wondered who really wrote the Bible? This book, which has influenced cultures, societies, and laws throughout history, has a fascinating origin that many are unaware of. In today's video, we'll dive deep into this question, uncovering the mysteries behind the authors of the sacred texts, the various traditions, and the historical contexts in which they were composed. Understanding the origin of the Bible is not just a matter of satisfying curiosity. It's also a way to better understand one's own beliefs and the beliefs of those around you. Whether you are a religious person, a student of history, or simply someone in search of knowledge, this video will provide valuable insights and a fresh perspective on one of the world's most read books. What if I told you that knowing the true story behind the Bible could change the way you see the world? Are you ready to embark on this journey of discovery? Then stay with us, because we guarantee that by the end of this video, you will have not only answers but also a new way to view the texts that have shaped civilizations. The Bible is more than just a sacred text for millions around the world. It is a complex literary mosaic, composed over millennia. Its origins date back to roughly 3,000 years ago, with the earliest texts written within the context of the ancient oral traditions of the Middle East. The Bible, as we know it, was penned by a diverse array of authors, including kings, shepherds, prophets, and prisoners, reflecting a broad spectrum of human experiences, cultures, and historical periods. The writings that make up the Old Testament began to be compiled in the region that today encompasses Israel, Palestine, and parts of Lebanon and Syria. These texts range from creation accounts and laws to poetry and prophecies, offering a glimpse into the life, beliefs, and practices of the ancient Israelites. Meanwhile, the New Testament was written against the backdrop of the Roman Empire, reflecting the life and teachings of Jesus Christ and the early Christian communities. Over the centuries, the Bible has transcended its geographical and cultural roots, becoming a cornerstone not just for Judaism and Christianity, but also profoundly influencing Islam. Its cultural and religious significance is immeasurable, serving as a foundation for laws, ethics, morality, and philosophy in countless societies. In many cultures, the Bible was the first book printed, significantly contributing to the development of literacy and education. Biblical teachings have shaped the arts, inspiring countless works in literature, music, painting, and film. Their influence can be seen in major works of Western literature, from Dante's Divine Comedy to the plays of Shakespeare. In music, from Handel's oratorios to contemporary pop songs, the Bible continues to inspire artists and creators. Furthermore, the Bible has been a tool for social and political change, cited to advocate for freedom and human rights as well as, unfortunately, to justify injustices. Social movements throughout history, such as the civil rights struggle in the United States, have been deeply rooted in biblical ideals of justice and equality. Primarily divided into two main parts, the Old and New Testaments, it encompasses a broad range of traditions and teachings that reflect the evolution of religious and historical thought over thousands of years. The Old Testament, also known to Judaism as the Tanakh, is a collection of sacred writings that narrate the history, laws, customs, and beliefs of the people of Israel. It spans from the creation of the world to the events preceding the birth of Jesus Christ. This segment is essential for understanding the roots of monotheism and the religious practices that define Judaism and Christianity. The transition to the New Testament marks a new era, focusing on the life, teachings, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, and the spread of his teachings by the apostles. This segment serves as the foundation of Christianity, highlighting the new covenant between God and humanity through Christ. Within these two major divisions, the Bible encompasses a diversity of literary genres, offering a rich textual experience that goes beyond a mere religious or historical document. We find the law, which comprises the commandments and divine instructions intended to guide moral and social conduct, exemplified by the Ten Commandments and the extensive legal code in the Book of Leviticus. Traditionally, the authorship of the first 5 books, collectively known as the Torah or Pentateuch, is attributed to Moses. These books, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, form the core of Jewish faith and practice, detailing everything from the creation of the world and the origins of the people of Israel to the divine laws given to Moses on Mount Sinai. However, Modern scholars suggest that these texts are actually the result of centuries of oral traditions and written revisions, compiled by various authors over time. In addition to Moses, other central figures emerge as significant contributors to the Old Testament. Prophets like Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel played vital roles, not just as messengers of divine warnings and promises, but also as literary figures whose visions and words were immortalized in the Bible. Their books offer a blend of history, poetry, and prophecy, reflecting the political and spiritual turmoil of their times. Legendary figures such as King David and King Solomon also hold prominent places in biblical authorship. David, traditionally credited as the author of many of the Psalms, infuses these poems with deep personal expression and a longing for God. Solomon, in turn, is associated with wisdom and credited with the authorship of Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and the Song of Songs, each reflecting different aspects of human understanding, from the pursuit of wisdom and meaning to the celebration of love. Other books, like Daniel and Esther, contain narratives that blend history, morality, and theology, contributing to the rich diversity of the Old Testament. These works, along with the writings of the minor prophets and other historical and poetic texts, offer perspectives that reflect the complex history of the people of Israel. The New Testament begins with the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, which are accounts of the life, teachings, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Each Gospel provides a unique perspective, reflecting the purposes and communities for which they were written. The four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, form the backbone of the New Testament and are fundamental to the Christian faith, each offering a distinct narrative about the life, ministry, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. While they share many events and teachings in common, each gospel is unique, reflecting the concerns and contexts of the communities to which they were originally written. The Gospel of Mark is generally considered the oldest of the four, dated around 65 to 70 AD. Its narrative is concise and straightforward, often using the word immediately to connect events, creating a sense of urgency and action. Mark portrays Jesus as the suffering Messiah, emphasizing his humanity and the mystery of his identity. Traditionally, it is believed that Mark was influenced by the testimony of the Apostle Peter, providing an eyewitness perspective of the events. Matthew, written around 80 to 90 AD, is often directed at a Jewish audience, as evidenced by its numerous references to the Old Testament. Matthew portrays Jesus as the new Moses and the fulfillment of Jewish messianic prophecies, establishing a direct continuity between Jewish traditions and the teachings of Jesus. The Sermon on the Mount with the Beatitudes is a highlight of the Gospel of Matthew, offering a powerful summary of the ethics of the kingdom of God. Luke, the author of both the third Gospel and the Acts of the Apostles, is noted for his historiographic approach, paying attention to the details and context of events. Written around 80 to 90 AD, Luke is directed at a Gentile audience, highlighting the universality of Jesus' message. The inclusion of parables and stories that emphasize mercy, forgiveness, and attention to the marginalized, such as the parable of the prodigal son and the Good Samaritan, reflects Luke's theme of salvation open to all. The Gospel of John, written around 90 to 100 AD, distinguishes itself from the Synoptics, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, in both style and content. John presents a profound theological vision of Jesus, emphasizing his divinity through discourses and miraculous signs, known as the Seven Signs. Jesus' proclamation as the Word at the beginning of John establishes a theme of divine revelation that permeates the entire Gospel. Intimate dialogues, such as Jesus' encounter with the Samaritan woman, reveal the personal and transformative nature of his message. Beyond the specific narratives of each Gospel, the four share several key episodes, such as the baptism of Jesus, the Last Supper, his crucifixion, and resurrection. These events are central to the Christian faith and are depicted with different nuances in each account, offering a multifaceted view of Jesus and his impact on the world. The analysis of the four Gospels reveals not just the complexity and richness of early Christian tradition, but also the heart of the Christian message, the good news of Jesus Christ. In studying them, we are invited into a dialogue with these ancient communities of faith, and to explore the depth and meaning of Jesus' life and teachings. The Pauline epistles form a significant part of the New Testament and are a collection of letters written by the Apostle Paul to various early Christian communities. These letters address theological, moral, and practical issues, reflecting the challenges and questions faced by the early Christians. From Romans to Philemon, Paul's letters are fundamental to understanding the development of Christian thought and the spread of Christianity in the Greco-Roman world. In addition to Paul, other apostles and Christian leaders also contributed epistles, such as James, Peter, John, and Jude, each bringing their own perspectives and concerns to the New Testament canon. Beyond the Gospels and the epistles, the New Testament includes the Acts of the Apostles, a historical account of the early expansion of the Christian Church, and Revelation, a prophetic book attributed to John, offering symbolic visions of the end times and God's final victory. These texts, together with the Gospels and letters, form a complex and multifaceted portrait of early Christian faith, its beliefs, practices, and initial challenges. Understanding who wrote the New Testament and their possible sources is crucial for appreciating both the diversity and unity within the sacred Christian texts. This understanding allows us to see the New Testament not just as a religious document, but also as a collection of literary works that reflect the rich tapestry of life, culture, and faith in the ancient world. The process of compiling the texts that we now know as the Bible is a fascinating chapter in the history of Christianity, marked by theological debates, ecclesiastical councils, and the quest for the authenticity of sacred writings. The formation of the biblical canon, or the collection of books recognized as authoritative, did not occur at once but was the result of a complex and prolonged process that spanned several centuries. In early Christianity, there was a vast array of writings circulating among Christian communities, including the four Gospels, Paul's letters, other apostolic writings, and a range of apocryphal texts. The need to define a set of authorized writings became evident as the Church faced heresies and sought to establish a uniform doctrine. Ecclesiastical councils, such as the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, did not decide the canon but reflected the growing agreement on which texts were considered authentic and inspired. It was in the 4th and 5th centuries that more formal and widely accepted lists of the New Testament canon began to appear, such as the list by Bishop Athanasius in his Festal Letter of 367 AD, which identified the 27 books of the New Testament as we know them today. The process was marked by an emerging consensus rather than an authoritative imposition, with the criteria for canonicity including apostolicity, association with an apostle, universality, acceptance by various significant Christian communities, liturgical use, and consistency with the Christian faith. Alongside the development of the canon, the history of the Bible's translation is equally rich and complex, reflecting the spread of Christianity and the linguistic and cultural diversity of its followers. The most influential translation from antiquity was the Septuagint, a Greek translation of the Hebrew Old Testament, which made the scriptures accessible to Greek speakers in the Hellenistic world. The translation of the Bible into Latin, known as the Vulgate, undertaken by Jerome in the late 4th century, became the authoritative version for the Roman Catholic Church throughout much of the Middle Ages. This translation movement not only made the scriptures accessible to a broader audience but also introduced variations in interpretation and theological emphasis, depending on the linguistic nuances and the translator's choices. The invention of the printing press and the Protestant Reformation in the 16th century catalyzed new translations of the Bible, directly from Hebrew and Greek into the vernacular languages, democratizing access to the scriptures and promoting a more personal and direct engagement with the sacred texts. Each translation, from the King James to modern versions, carries both a commitment to the original texts and the translator's interpretations, shaping how subsequent generations understand and experience the biblical message. The process of compiling the Bible and its translation over the centuries tells a tale of faith, scholarship, and debate, reflecting humanity's enduring desire to connect with and comprehend the divine word. The Bible's impact on art, literature, and society is vast and deep. From Michelangelo's magnificent frescoes in the Sistine Chapel to Shakespeare's tragedies laden with biblical allusions, the Bible has provided a wellspring of themes, symbols, and narratives that artists and writers have tapped into over the centuries. Its stories of creation, redemption, sacrifice, and hope universally resonate, allowing creators from all times and cultures to adapt them to reflect contemporary human questions and dilemmas. In literature, the Bible has not only influenced the narrative structure and themes of countless works, but has also enriched the language with expressions and proverbs. From Dante Alighieri to John Milton, from Fyodor Dostoevsky to Toni Morrison, writers have drawn upon biblical figures, parables, and ethical dilemmas to explore good and evil, justice, faith, and redemption. These works, by incorporating biblical elements, not only amplify their own thematic resonance, but also demonstrate the Bible's ability to engage with universal human issues. In art, the Bible has inspired some of the most sublime works of humanity. Artists like Leonardo da Vinci, Caravaggio, and Rembrandt have repeatedly turned to the Bible for inspiration, creating pieces that capture the complexity of human emotions and the divine drama. Whether in depicting Christ's mercy and compassion or the intensity and passion of Old Testament narratives, biblical art invites viewers to spiritual and emotional contemplation. Beyond art and literature, the Bible has profoundly impacted laws, ethics, and social systems throughout history. Its moral principles and teachings, such as those found in the Sermon on the Mount, have influenced the formulation of laws and social norms that promote justice, equality, and compassion. Civil rights movements, humanitarian efforts, and peace initiatives often find their roots or inspiration in biblical concepts of love for one's neighbor, human dignity, and the pursuit of justice. In the contemporary world, the relevance of the Bible remains undeniable, continuing to be the most widely distributed and read book across the globe. In an era of rapid technological and social change, the narratives, parables, and teachings of the Bible provide an anchor point for those seeking guidance, comfort, and meaning. In contemporary debates on ethics, human rights, and social justice, biblical principles often emerge as significant reference points. The Bible also continues to inspire interreligious and intercultural dialogues, promoting understanding and tolerance among different beliefs and traditions. As societies become increasingly global and multifaceted, the Bible, with its rich diversity of human and divine stories, offers common ground for exploring shared values and the pursuit for a common purpose. In summary, the impact and legacy of the Bible on culture, literature, art, and society as a whole are immeasurable. It remains a source of inspiration, challenge, and comfort for millions, a testament to the enduring human quest for meaning and connection with the divine. As we delve into the depths of the Bible, we uncover a rich tapestry of stories, laws, poetry, and prophecies, penned over millennia by a diversity of authors. From the first 5 books traditionally attributed to Moses to the profound musings of the prophets and the vivid accounts of the Gospels, the Bible offers a window into the complexities of faith, history, and the human condition. Apostles like Paul and other early church leaders contributed letters that shaped nascent Christianity, while the Gospels provide unique insights into the life and teachings of Jesus. This exploration into the history and formation of the Bible invites us to reflect on its impact on our lives. How do the stories, teachings, and figures of the Bible influence our beliefs, our values, and our daily decisions? In a world that's constantly changing, how can we find timeless wisdom in these ancient pages? For those intrigued by the Bible's central figure, Jesus Christ, I invite you to watch the video from the channel Prophecies of Jesus, Before and After His Death. This video promises to deepen the understanding of the prophecies surrounding Jesus' life, offering insights into how these predictions intertwine with the events of his life and legacy. If you found value in our exploration of the history and influence of the Bible, consider subscribing to the channel. Don't forget to like this video if it provided you with new insights and share your opinions or personal experiences in the comments. Your interaction enriches our community and helps guide future content. Join us on this ongoing journey of discovery and reflection.